சிறுநீரக நோய் பற்றின விழிப்புணர்வு இல்லாமல் இருக்காங்க. ரத்த கொதிப்பும் சக்கரை வியாதியும் தான் சிறுநீரக நோய் வர்றதுக்கான முக்கிய காரணங்கள். வருஷத்துக்கு ஒரு தடவை ரத்த பரிசோதனையும் சிறுநீரக பரிசோதனையும் தவறாமல் செஞ்சுக்கோங்க. டேங்கர் தமிழ்நாடு கிட்னி ரிசர்ச் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் பலதரப்பட்ட மக்களுக்கு சலுகை முறையில் சிகிச்சையும் விழிப்புணர்வும் கொடுத்துட்ருக்காங்க. டேங்கர் செய்கிற இந்த சேவை இன்னும் பல பேருக்கு போய் சேர உங்கள் ஆதரவை கொடுங்க. டேங்கர் உயிர் தொட்டு வாழ். Did you know that life is actually long? Did you also know that we make it short? In India, 7 out of 10 people are ignorant about kidney diseases. Hypertension and diabetes are the main causes for kidney failure. A simple blood test and a urine test done regularly will keep us away from these dreadful diseases. Tanker, Tamil Nadu Kidney Research Foundation, has provided treatment at subsidized rate for the underprivileged and created awareness. With more support, more lives can be touched and saved. Together, let us support Tanker. Tanker, give life, live life.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today for our 29th Tanker Annual Charity and Awards Night. We postponed it by a couple of months due to COVID, and we felt that we should have it, which is our annual. We're grateful that all of you are here today. I request our advisory member, Mrs. Sudha, to come and sing the prayer song for us. Before that, we are dedicating this evening in memory of Mrs. Meena Venkateshwaran, who's my mother. We fondly called her the mother of Tanker because she was always there for every event and for every awards night, and she was one of our first donors and first people who came forward to support Tanker and give me encouragement to be part of this along with Dr. Georgie and like-minded people. We also dedicate this to Mr. M.G. George Muthoot. He was also a big donor for us over the years. So in their memories, you can remain seated, just half a minute silence for them. Thank you. Thank you. I request Sudha Lakshmi Rao to sing the invocation song for us.
With all your permission, I'd like to take off my mask to sing the song. This is a very popular, it's a film song, and I would like you all to join in the refrain if you know this song. It would be wonderful to have you all singing. ஒன்றே குலமென்று பாடுவோம், ஒருவனே தேவன் என்று போற்றுவோம். Sing along. ஒன்றே குலமென்று பாடுவோம், ஒருவனே தேவன் என்று போற்றுவோம். அன்னை இதயமாக அன்பு வடிவமாக வந்து வழி காட்ட வேண்டும் என்று வணங்குவோம். ஒன்றே குலம் என்று பாடுவோம், ஒருவனே தேவன் என்று போற்றுவோம். கடவுளிலே கருணை தன்னை காணலாம், அந்த கருணையிலே கடவுளையும் காணலாம். நல்ல மனசாட்சியே தேவனரசாட்சியாம், அங்கு ஒரு போதும் மறையாது அவன் சாட்சியாம். ஒன்றே குலம் என்று பாடுவோம், ஒருவனே தேவன் என்று போற்றுவோம். ஒன்றே குலம் என்று பாடுவோம், ஒருவனே தேவன் என்று போற்றுவோம். நன்றி.
Thank you very much, Sudha Lakshmi Rao. Yes, all one religion. We all belong to the human race in one family. Thank you. We start this evening with a lecture This is a memorial lecture in memory of Mr. S.V. Venkateshan and Mrs. Malati Venkateshan. They were our dear trustees who helped Tanker grow, and without them we wouldn't be where we are today. They participated in all the programs. They were interested in every aspect of Tanker. We miss them very dearly. Their daughter is here with us today, Aparna Venkateshan, and she's going to just say a few words on screen about her parents.
Good afternoon to everyone. I am grateful to be a part of this 29th year of the Tanker Foundation's annual Charity and Awards Night, and to honor this year's recipient of the S.V. and Malati Venkatesan Tanker Foundation Memorial Lecture, Professor Joanne Bargman. This award is in honor of my wonderful parents who were my best friends and spiritual guides in this earthly journey. The Hindu scriptures say that to be born to wealthy parents is a rare birth taking many lifetimes, but to be born to spiritual parents is even rarer. I am one of those fortunate few. I also take a moment to honor everyone who we have lost during the pandemic, and that we are the ones who have lived through and are still navigating a time of unprecedented crisis for over 2 years in this world. So I am very grateful to be here today. S.V. and Malati Venkatesan played a leading role in many charities and NGOs over their lives, including nearly 3 decades as trustees for the Tamil Nadu Kidney Research or Tanker Foundation, serving underprivileged patients with kidney disease. Amma was a graduate of Queen Mary's College and champion volunteer at numerous NGOs, known for her tremendous grit, bold determination, and visionary leadership. She bravely battled kidney disease for over 2 decades while serving underprivileged patients through her role as a trustee of Tanker and the Mohan Foundations. This is what made her an eloquent advocate for better solutions for patients with kidney disease. Appa's brilliant intellect and extraordinary earthly achievements were exceeded only by his simplicity, humility, and joyful good-naturedness. Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of his passing. They were both universally beloved and respected and deeply spiritual. So I'm grateful to be here to honor their legacy. Heartfelt congratulations, Professor Bargman, and congratulations to all the other award recipients tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Aparna, for those lovely words, and thank you for being with us today. Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. This is a Japanese proverb. This describes Professor Joanne Bargman. I request our founder trustee, Dr. Georgie Abraham, to come and introduce Professor Joanne Bargman, who is going to deliver the S.V. Venkateshan and Mrs. Malati Venkateshan lecture today.
Good afternoon. It is only after 6 o'clock. It can be good evening. So I extend a warm welcome to all of you who are coming here today for the Tanker Foundation Annual Day. Thank you, Aparna, for that short speech. And I have the great pleasure in introducing Dr. Joanne Bargman. Let me straight away go to the introduction. Joanne Bargman is a staff nephrologist at the University Health Network and professor of medicine at the University of Toronto, Canada. She received her MD from the University of Toronto. She pursued nephrology training at the Stanford University. Her research focused on renal physiology and micropuncture. Upon returning to Toronto, she was recruited to the Toronto Western Hospital, where she trained in peritoneal dialysis under the late Professor Dimitrios Oriopoulos. She has more than 900 invited lectures internationally on subjects such as diverse as peritoneal dialysis, glomerulonephritis, and management of systemic lupus erythematosus. She is the director of peritoneal dialysis for the University Health Network in Toronto, past president of the International Society for Peritoneal Dialysis, and coordinator of the Combined Renal Rheumatology Systemic Lupus Clinic for the University Health Network. She has won the Silver Shovel given by the graduate medical class of the University of Toronto to the best lecturer in undergraduate years. She has also won the University of Toronto Faculty of Medicine Postgraduate Teaching Award given to the best teacher in the postgraduate program. In 2013, she was the recipient of both Donald Sheldon Award for Excellence in Nephrology at the National Kidney Foundation of USA and the Award for Teaching Excellence from the Canadian Society of Nephrology. She was the 2015 recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award at the annual Dialysis Conference in New Orleans, USA, and received the International Distinguished Medal at the Spring Clinical Meeting at the National Kidney Foundation in 2016. In 2018, she was a recipient of the Gabor Silverman Award for Research and Excellence in Peritoneal Dialysis. In 2021, she was awarded the Robert G. Narins Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Society of Nephrology. She is an associate editor of the Journal of American Society of Nephrology. Dr. Barkman co-authored of the chapter of chronic kidney disease in the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and the upcoming 21st editions of the Harrison's Principles of Internal Medicine. Joanne was my mentor and a good friend from 1986 when I joined Toronto Western Hospital. She's an excellent clinician, a researcher with compassion and empathetic understanding of the patient's problem. We remain good friends and exchange WhatsApp call either once a week or once in 10 days. Not only she is a professor, but a homemaker with 2 grown-up children and an understanding husband, Professor Earl Silverman. We, the Indian nephrologists, are indebted to her. So let's have the lecture now.
My name is Joanne Barkman. I'm a nephrologist, and I work at the University Health Network at the University of Toronto. I'm also professor of medicine in the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Toronto. It is my great honor to present this Tanker Foundation Memorial Lecture at the invitation of Professor Georgie Abraham, who I will have some things to say about. My lecture is dedicated to Dr. Soundarajan, Dr. Tamilisai Soundarajan, the Governor of Telangana, and it is my pleasure to do so. This is the outline of my talk. I'm going to talk first of all, how did the fellowship begin? It was back in 1993. Dr. Karl Skorecki, who is now in Israel, at the time was Director of Nephrology for the University of Toronto. He realized that we had a shortage of Canadian trainees in nephrology and proposed that we should recruit nephrology-trained candidates from other countries. And he asked me in that year to found this program, the International Clinical Fellowship Program in Nephrology, to serve at 3 teaching hospitals at the University of Toronto. Now, can someone go from one country to another and be successful? I had personal experience about this. When we were residents, there was an exchange program between Toronto, Canada, and Melbourne, Australia. And I applied for and happily was chosen to be that exchange resident. So I spent a year along with my husband in Melbourne, Australia. And I really had culture shock, which I'll talk about in a minute. But once that settled down, it was a very successful year. And what you see is a photo from way back in 1981 of my husband and myself talking to my attending at the time, Professor Fred Mendelsohn. Now, how could someone going from Canada to Australia experience culture shock? And I was a little surprised too. But a lot of things, first of all, the feminist movement, which had pretty well been established in Canada, hadn't really reached Australia when we went over for the exchange fellowship. However, I think because I was a bit of an exotic foreigner, being a Canadian, that somehow I was spared from the sexism. I found that acronyms in medical conversation were different in Australia, and the laboratory values were in different units. But most importantly, what I realized was that all the residents, having been on call overnight, got together in the morning for toast and would spread Vegemite on the toast. And of course, wanting to belong, I wanted to do that too, so I would make the toast and spread on the Vegemite, but I would end up almost vomiting. It was just disgusting, and no matter how hard I tried, I could never get used to Vegemite. While I was still considering taking on this clinical fellowship program, I realized that we had already had some successful international fellows, including Georgie Abraham, who came in the late 1980s and started a fellowship in nephrology at Toronto Western Hospital, part of the University Health Network. He excelled in clinical nephrology and published many important papers during his time in Toronto. And as you well know, he had a monumental career upon his return to India and is still going strong. Also around the same time that Georgie Abraham came, Dr. Peter Blake came from Ireland and started a fellowship also at the Toronto Western Hospital. And this also launched a stellar nephrology career. Although Peter did not go back to Ireland, he married Rose and stayed in Canada and is practicing at the University of Western Ontario in London. This is a picture of a Christmas party hosted by Rob and Shirley Oldall. Here's Rob and here's Shirley hosting this Christmas party. And just to show you, here is Georgie Abraham back in 1988, his wife Renee. Here's my husband and myself, and here's Peter Blake. If any of you know David Mendelsohn, here he is too. So this is all those years ago. This is an example of some of the important work that Peter and Georgie did in research while they were fellows at Toronto Western Hospital, and this was published in a very prestigious journal. So given my own very successful experience as an international trainee in Australia, and given my exposure to very successful international trainees who had come to Toronto to do further training, I said, okay, I'll take this on. So for the first iteration of this fellowship, we placed advertisements in a couple of the prominent European medical journals. But the good news is, although it was really expensive to place those ads, after the first year, we really never had to advertise again. The program just spread very rapidly by word of mouth. For example, Dr. Oriopoulos, my colleague at Toronto Western Hospital, had recently visited Belfast, and there he met a resident named Vanita Jassel. And in discussions with her, it turned out that she was interested in undertaking further training in our institution. So Dr. Oriopoulos passed her information on to me. She seemed like a really excellent candidate, so I decided to offer her the first fellowship position in my program, and this was before the advent of email. Now, the interesting thing is that Vanita had mentioned to some of her friends that she had applied for this position overseas, and when I called her to offer her the job, she thought that it was one of her friends playing a trick on her. And the phone conversation went something like this. I said, "Hello, Vanita. This is Dr. Joanne Bargman from Toronto. Vanita, thinking that it was one of her friends playing a prank on her, said, yeah, sure. What do you want? I was a little taken aback, but I continued on and I said, I was wondering if you were still interested in the fellowship in Toronto. Vanita, still thinking it's a prank, said, sure, whatever, and hung up. It was only when she went out for a beer with her friends later that evening did she realize that in fact it wasn't her friends, but it was actually a true offer of the first fellowship position in my program in Toronto. So once we sorted all that out and she realized that it wasn't a trick, she was indeed the first fellow, and she did a great job and enriched our program enormously. She was eventually recruited to actually come on staff at the University of Toronto and is now a full professor of medicine at the university. She has a worldwide reputation as an expert in geriatric nephrology and dialysis in the elderly population. So that was a very successful but very interesting first recruit. Now, what was it like training Indian nephrologists? Because in fact, aside from Vanita, who came from Belfast, the majority of the nephrologists who came in the early years were almost exclusively from India. In fact, I met Vidya Shara at one of the meetings in India, and she introduced me to a whole bunch of fellows who were interested in coming to Toronto. In order to qualify for the fellowship at the University of Toronto, the candidates had to have achieved their DM or their DNB. So in fact, the majority of the Indian nephrologists were extremely well trained. I did make the observation that those who trained in big city hospitals, such as Mumbai or Delhi, seemed to settle in to the pace of our own big city hospital compared to fellows who trained in relatively smaller cities. Some of my observations about the fellows from India is that many of them would give a fantastic history, report on a fantastic physical examination, and where they should continue and give a differential diagnosis and a diagnosis, they would just stop and wait for me to take over. And I think that for many of these trainees back home, that's the way it went. That the fellow would report on the history and the physical and then stop, and the attending would take over and discuss the differential diagnosis and the diagnosis. But in our training system, the fellow is strongly encouraged to continue on themselves with the differential diagnosis and what they think's going on and what the next step should be for investigation and treatment. So we had to teach many of the Indian fellows to act as a consultant and talk about these things. There's a strong emphasis also in our own training system for a lot of the teaching to be done in a trickle-down way. In other words, the more senior residents teach the more junior residents, and the junior residents teach the medical students, and so on. And it seemed that some of the institutions that some of our Indian fellows came from didn't subscribe to this kind of teaching model. And so we had to emphasize to them about this kind of teaching, and the majority adapted very well. And some of the Indian fellows, in fact, won teaching awards from the University of Toronto and the hospitals that they were working at. So they had their own learning curve. This is just a learning curve for the Indian fellows. And what I found was the things that they had to learn was how to proceed and act like a consultant and give on their own a differential diagnosis, a diagnosis and treatment plan, and also to learn to more regularly teach the more junior members of the team. What about my own learning curve about Indian doctors? Well, there's a lot of things, not necessarily about medicine, but more social things that I found very interesting. First is that even modern young Indians, where both are professionals, may be in an arranged marriage. And While I was shocked to find that out, it seemed that many of the fellows who came indeed were in an arranged marriage, and at least you never really know what goes on in a marriage, but at least to this outsider, it seemed that they were very successful marriages. And I also learned that the opposite of an arranged marriage was called a love marriage. And it was always fascinating to me every time I made a trip to India to read the marriage advertisements in the Hindu Times. That was just a fascinating experience for me. I learned that the firstborn son in Indian families seemed to have a particularly strong and special obligation to the family, and then if a parent at home got ill, it was the oldest son who was expected to come back, if not permanently, at least temporarily. And even in the modern day, divorce still carries a strong stigma. In fact, one of the Indian fellows had made a very mysterious trip to the United States for an emergency, but he wouldn't say what it was about. And we thought someone was dying or someone was being put in jail or something like that. And we finally got it out of him that the big emergency was that his sister was getting divorced. And this was just such a stigma and a source of shame, which really is very opposite where it's quite accepted in North American society. So those are the sort of social things I learned about with the Indian fellows. And I want to give you just some instances of very interesting episodes with the fellows. One of the new fellows and his wife and his child stayed at my house for a few days because their apartment wasn't yet available. And one day they left my house and went downtown to do some shopping at the shopping center. And when they returned, the wife of my fellow told me about their day, including the fact that they stopped at McDonald's for a cheeseburger. Now that was kind of interesting because I knew that this couple did not eat beef. And maybe cheeseburgers in India are just cheese, but cheeseburgers in Canada are cheese with a definite patty of beef. So I said to her, but the cheeseburger has beef in it. And she was shocked. And she said that thinking about it while they were eating it, she said to her husband, "This tastes a little funny. Maybe this was beef." And her husband, who had now been in Canada for a total of 2 days, but of course is now an expert on everything Canadian, responded to her, "No, no, no, this isn't beef. This is what Canadian cheese tastes like." Which again goes along with it. Men have all the answers, don't they? Another one of my fellows invited my husband and myself over for dinner, and when we arrived they had this adorable little boy who was terrified of me. And kids usually take to me. So I said, why is he looking at me and looking at me like I'm a monster or someone who's super scary? So it turned out that when his father, the nephrology fellow, used to get called back to the hospital for some emergency, the little boy would start crying, and he used to say to his son, "I have to go, or Dr. Barkman is going to make pity pity." And that's why he thought I was such a scary person, and I learned a new expression. What about my so many trips to India? And some of my colleagues who are from India have noted that I have visited India more often than they have. And here are the different places around India that I have had the privilege to visit and speak at. What did I learn about India? Here are the highlights: food, food, and food. For example, dosas. Like, that is the most delicious breakfast food ever. I don't know how I had lived my life eating breakfast up to the point where I learned about dosas. And the other thing is paneer. That really wasn't appreciated in North America, and I just really was very fond of dishes that had paneer in it. They were just delicious, and it was a whole new taste for me. And everything was just, even I would be excited about going on an airplane because we would get the boxed meals on the in the airlines, and they were delicious too. And then every time I would come back from India to Canada, the food in Canada just tasted so tasteless and boring until I eventually got used to it again. Other things about my trips to India are the colors. I just remember all the bright colors, the unique smell that India's cities have at night just is wedged into my brain and is so unique. And if I ever smell that smell, it transports me immediately back to India in the nighttime. And of course, the hospitality and the kindness shown during these trips. One time, Georgie Abraham was my host, and he said, "Oh, let's go to my hospital." So I said, "Okay." So I figured it would be like a meet and greet, just to have a look around his clinic, have a cup of tea, and then leave. And when we arrived, I noticed that there were about 20 people sitting around the waiting room. And I asked Georgie why they were there, and he said, "Oh, these are lupus patients. I asked them to come here because I want you to consult on them." So that was just a very typical Georgie Abraham move. And in fact, I did consult on all those lupus patients. This is one of the visits to Sri Ramachandra, Georgie's hospital in Chennai back then. And here's Georgie Abraham. And here's our governor, to whom this talk is dedicated, her husband, another nephrologist, Dr. Sundaranjan. Here am I, and here is my husband. And you'll note that my husband has a layer of sweat across his shirt. And in fact, every single photograph of us in India, he has a layer of sweat across his shirt. Teaching rounds in India were difficult for me. I usually love to do teaching rounds when I visit another country, but in this particular case, the majority of the patients we were seeing were admitted with either leptospirosis or malaria. And I had little to no experience with these illnesses, so I really didn't have much to teach about, because even the medical students knew more about these illnesses than I did. So this is the program. How has it enriched my career and my life? When I was offered this job, I said, maybe if I do this long enough, I will have trained a measurable percent of Indian nephrologists. And I think I have. I stayed in this position for 26 years, and although we don't have an official tally, it is a significant number of Indian nephrologists, and that is really a source of pride to me. What has it meant for me professionally? Well, the fellowship position that I took on was really one of the first at the University of Toronto and eventually served as a model for fellowship director positions in other subspecialties. They copied my program, and I was really seen as the go-to person for launching these kinds of international fellowship programs. It was also recognized as academically important and probably helped me in my promotion to full professor of medicine. But more importantly is what that means for me personally. The fact is I've made so many friends and colleagues from India and around the world. When you think about it, some of the fellows and there are many of those little children who now are grown up, and many of them, in fact, are training to be doctors or are doctors already. What does that mean for me personally? When I was offered this job, I said, maybe if I do this long enough, I will have trained a measurable percent of Indian nephrologists. And I think I have. I stayed in this position for 26 years, and although we don't have an official tally, it is a significant number of Indian nephrologists. And that is really a source of pride to me. What has it meant for me professionally? Well, the fellowship position that I took on was really one of the first at the University of Toronto and eventually served as a model for fellowship director positions in other subspecialties. They copied my program, and I was really seen as the go-to person for launching these kinds of international fellowship programs. It was also recognized as academically important and probably helped me in my promotion to full professor of medicine. But more importantly is what that mean for my person.
Sorry, as is being recorded, there seems to be a problem with the recording towards the end. We'd like to say that we're really grateful to Professor Bogman for having accepted to give the lecture. Yeah, there's only one more slide. So, what has it meant for me personally? I have made so many friends from India and around the world. Some of the fellows brought little children during their stay, and I was their auntie. Most of those children are now all grown up, and many are doctors themselves. So, India has many people trained in my program. It has been a real pleasure to train the international fellows, the majority of whom have been from India. I've been both professionally and personally. It has been both professionally and personally enriching. So thank you. This is Professor John Bogman, who very kindly accepted to give the Malti Venkatesan and Mr. S.V. Venkatesan Tanker Foundation Memorial Lecture. I'm really sorry for this glitch towards the end, but we're very honored that Professor Bogman from Canada, I mean, it was very difficult trying to get her timing and our timing together, that she accepted it. More than that, we're really grateful that she is a fantastic teacher and she's trained so many Indian nephrologists. And thank you all for your patience. We are waiting for the governor to come. In the meanwhile, we will play a few videos of Tanker just to give you an update of the history of Tanker. Thank you.
வணக்கம், எனது பெயர் ராமதாஸ். நான் அம்பத்தூர் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் ஒரு 13 வருஷத்துக்கு மேலே டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். எனக்கு சொந்த ஊர் கும்பகோணம். உடல்நிலை ரொம்ப சரியில்லாதப்போ, வேறு வழியே இல்லாதப்போ மெட்ராஸ்க்கு வந்தேன். ஒரு வருஷம் வெளியில் பண்ணிவிட்டேன். எனக்கு அதுக்குள்ளே வீடெல்லாம் விற்று ரொம்ப அவஸ்தைப்பட்டு வேறு வழியே இல்லைங்கிற சூழ்நிலையில், எதுவுமே இல்லைங்கிற சரி ஊருக்கு திரும்பி போயிடலாங்கிற சூழ்நிலையில் நண்பர்கள் சொல்லும்போது அதை வச்சுக்கிட்டு நான் அந்த டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனுக்கு வந்தேன். அன்னிலேருந்து இன்னி வரைக்கும் எனக்கு எல்லா விதத்துலேயும், எங்கள் குடும்பத்துக்கும் எல்லா விதத்துலேயும் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் உதவி செஞ்சுட்டு தான் இருக்குது. நான் இன்றைக்கி உயிரோட ஒரு நல்ல சமூகத்தில் உலவரேன் அப்படின்னாக்கா அதுக்கு டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் தான் காரணம். டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனோட ஸ்டாஃபுங்க, நிர்வாகிகள், அப்புறம் இதுக்கு உதவி செய்கிற நல்ல உள்ளங்கள், இவங்க அத்தனை பேரும் இந்த டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனோட தூண். எங்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் அவங்க தான் வாழ்க்கை கொடுத்தது. நாங்கள் என்றைக்கும் மறக்க முடியாது. எந்த சூழ்நிலையிலையும் மழை, புயல், எத்தனையோ இயற்கை இடர்பாடுகள் வரும்போது கூட அந்த டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் ஒரு நாள் கூட லீவு கிடையாது. எந்த ஸ்டாஃப் கூட சமயத்தில் அந்த பேஷண்ட்டுகளை வீட்டில் போய் அழைச்சிட்டு வந்து டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ண சூழ்நிலைகள்லாம் இங்கே நிறையா இருந்தது. இந்த கொரோனா டயத்தில் ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்டாஃபும் ஒவ்வொரு பேஷண்ட்டையும் அவ்வளோ கேர் எடுத்து செஞ்சாங்க. வீட்டுக்கு போய் கூட அழைச்சிட்டு வந்தாங்க சில பேஷண்ட்டை. அதை இந்த கொரோனா டயத்தில் எங்களால் மறக்கவே முடியாது. எந்தவித டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட்டும் இல்லாத டயத்தில் இந்த டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனை எங்களால் மறக்கவே முடியாது. எங்கள் உயிர் காப்பாற்றுறதுக்கு காரணமே டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் தான். அத்தனை உள்ளங்களுக்கும் மிக்க நன்றி. வணக்கம்.
Good morning. My name is Vijayanand Timothy. I've been doing dialysis since 2016. I started my dialysis with Aisha Hospital at Kellis, and it was pretty expensive, and due to my finance problems, I was discussing with the nephrologist, and they said they suggested Tanker Foundation. From 2017 onwards, with the CM insurance card, I started here, and it's absolutely free. I have good experience with Tankers Foundation, very friendly staff, and they are all under good supervision by all senior and skilled supervisors, highly experienced, and they are capable of handling all situations. Thank you.
வணக்கம், என் பேர் சஜய்குமார், டயாலிசிஸ் பேஷண்ட். கடந்த 17 வருடங்களாக டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் நான் டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். இங்கே வர்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி சில தனியார் மருத்துவமனைகளில் நான் டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். எனக்கு ரொம்ப நிறைய செலவாச்சு. அதில் என்னுடைய பொருளாதாரம் ரொம்ப பாதிக்கப்பட்ட நிலையில் எனக்கு டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனை சில பேர் ரெக்கமெண்ட் பண்ணாங்க. அதுக்கு பிறகு இங்கே வந்து பண்ணதில் எங்களுக்கு மானிய விலையில் டயாலிசிஸ் ரொம்ப சிறப்பாக நல்ல மருத்துவ வசதிகளோடு கிடச்சிது. அந்த வகையில் நான் டேங்கருக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி கடன் பட்டிருக்கேன். குறிப்பாக பொருளாதாரத்தின் விளிம்பு நிலையில் இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு இந்த டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் ஒரு பெரிய வரப்பிரசாதம். மறுமுறை நான் நன்றியை தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறேன். ஓகே வையா.
Good morning. My name is Prakash. I am a singer by profession. For the past 5 years, I have been undergoing dialysis. I have gone through a lot of hospitals where there have been good lookouts, but the expenses were very high. But I was looking around for a place where they can minimize the price of the dialysis, and at last I was able to get hold of this wonderful place which you call Tankers Foundations. They have done a wonderful job. The past 4-5 months I have been here. The moment from the house I leave, in another 15 minutes I feel that I have reached my home again. That's how this place looks. The surroundings are clean, the environment is very good, it's very airy, the beds are clean, and above all I have to tell you about the staff here, especially Parthiban is a wonderful human being, and whoever is around with him, like Karthik, Vasanta, and what's the name of it? Devavati, everybody are full of concern, and they take care of me like their own brother. And sometimes when I go back home, even during the night, they used to call me and inquire my health conditions. I am very happily settled in this place. I feel that if people are around like this, then I can definitely improve, and lot of people will come out of the sickness. God bless this place. Lord.
வந்து லக்ஷ்மி. நான் 2016 நான் டயாலிஸ் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன். 2016 நான் வந்து பாரதி ராஜாவில் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருந்தேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் 2018 வந்து எனக்கு வந்து டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் வள்ளுவர் கோட்டத்தில் இருக்கிற டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் மூலிமா எனக்கு வாய்ப்பு கிடைச்சிது. நான் அங்கே வந்து இப்போ 2.5 வருஷமாக நான் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறேன். இங்கே இருக்கிற ஸ்டாஃப் எல்லாம் எங்களை ரொம்ப அக்கறையோடு அதோடு நல்லா கவனிச்சிக்கிறாங்க. நான் ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்கிறேன். என்னுடைய வேலைகளை என்னால் நான் நல்லா செஞ்சுக்க முடியுது.
5 வருஷமாக டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கிறேன். ஆரோக்கியமாக இருக்கிறேன். எந்த ஒரு பிரச்சனையும் கிடையாது. இருக்கிற ஸ்டாஃபு, இன்சார்ஜ் மேடம் எல்லாருமே அன்பாக ஆதரவாக பார்த்துக்கிறாங்க. நானும் ஆட்டிட்டாக வந்து பண்ணிக்கின்னு வேலை வெட்டிக்கெல்லாம் போகிறேன். செக்யூரிட்டி வேலை தான் செய்கிறேன். எந்த குறையும் இல்லாமல் வந்து பண்ணிக்கின்னு நல்ல மாதிரியாக போயின்னு இருக்கிறேன்.
I am Gerald Joseph, coming from Saligramam, and I had an opportunity to do dialysis in Tanker Foundation for the past 4 months period. Dialysis stops everyone, very dedicated and helpful to each and every one patients, and their services are really appreciated and really useful to middle class families and poor people. Thanks so much to everyone.
வணக்கம், என் பேர் கார்த்திக். நான் முதலமைச்சர் ஸ்கீமில் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் 5 இயர்ஸ் வந்து டயாலிசிஸ் போட்டுட்ருக்கேன். டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் நல்ல முறையில் என்னை பார்த்துக்கிறனால நான் ஒர்க் போய் நல்லா சம்பாரிச்சிக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன். ஃபேமிலியும் நல்லபடியாக ரன் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். டன்சோவில் ஒர்க் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். டெலிவரி, ஃபுட் டெலிவரி, கிராஸ் ஐட்டம்ஸு ஒரு நாளைக்கு 80 கிலோமீட்டர்ஸ் வந்து 100 கிலோமீட்டர் ட்ராவல் பண்ணுறேன். இந்த வாழ்வை கொடுத்த டேங்கருக்கும் வேலை பார்க்குற சிஸ்டருக்கும் அண்ணனுங்களும் ரொம்ப நன்றி. டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனுக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி.
வணக்கம். என் பேர் ஜெகநாதன். 2017 ஜனவரி 2ஆம் தேதி திருவேற்காடு யூனிட் ஓப்பன் பண்ணாங்க. அன்னையிலேருந்து இன்னை வரைக்கும் நான் டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறேன். நல்ல சர்வீஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. சிஸ்டர் அண்ட் பிரதர்ஸ் நல்லா கோஆப்ரேட் பண்ணுறாங்க. வாரத்தில் 2 நாள் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்கிறேன். இதுக்கு முன்னாடி அம்பத்தூரில் இருக்க டேங்கரில் தான் நான் போய் பதிவு பண்ணேன். அங்கே பதிவு பண்ணும்போது அதுக்கப்புறம் இங்கே ஓப்பன் பண்ண பிறகு நான் உங்களுக்கு எட்டுக்கிறேன்னாங்க. அதே மாதிரி பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்கிறாங்க. இன்னி வரைக்கும் நல்லா இருக்கு. நானும் நல்லா இருக்கிறேன். மற்றபடி டேங்கர் வந்து நல்லா கோஆப்ரேட் தான். எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஹாப்பி.
வணக்கம். என் பேர் வந்து கார்த்திக். நான் சென்னை அம்பத்தூர் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் டயாலிசிஸ் போட்டுட்ருக்கேன். முதலமைச்சர் ஸ்கீமில் டயாலிசிஸ் போட்டிருக்கேன். இங்கே இருக்கிற நல்ல என்னை பார்த்துக்கிறாங்க. சிஸ்டர்ஸும் அண்ணனும் நல்லா பார்த்துக்கிறனால நான் ஹெல்த்தியாக இருக்கேன். ஃபேமிலிக்கு நல்லபடியாக சப்போர்ட்டாக இருக்கேன். டன்சோவில் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன். ஃபுட் டெலிவரி, கிராஸ் ஐட்டம்ஸ் எல்லாம் டெலிவரி பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன். நல்லா ஹெல்த்தியாக இருக்கேன். தேங்க்யூ டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன். நன்றி.
என் பேர் ஷாலினி. நான் ஆர்னிலேருந்து வரேன். நான் ஒரு 4 இயர்ஸாக டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். ஆனால் 3 இயர்ஸாக தான் தியாகராஜன் சார் மூலிமா சத்தவாச்சாரில் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணுறாங்கன்னு தெரிய வந்து டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணுறேன். ஸ்டார்டிங்கில் மென்டலி ஃபினான்ஷியலி ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டுட்டு இருந்தேன். ஆனால் டேங்கரில் டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணதுலேருந்து ரொம்ப ஃப்ரீயாக ஃபீல் பண்ணுறேன். எந்த ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸும் கிடையாது. ஈச் அண்ட் எவ்ரி ஒன் ஸ்டாஃப், எஸ்பெஷலி தியாகராஜன் சார் எல்லாருமே எங்களை ரொம்ப நல்லா பார்த்துக்கிறாங்க. என்னை மட்டும் இல்லை, என் கூட டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணுற எல்லாருமே ரொம்ப ஃப்ரீயாக ஃபீல் பண்ணுறாங்க. ரொம்ப பெரிய தேங்க்ஸ் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன். அண்டு டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணுறவங்க எல்லாருக்குமே டேங்கர் வந்து ஒரு பெரிய காட் கிஃப்ட்டுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். டேங்கர்னாலே ரொம்ப நீட் அண்ட் க்ளீன், அதான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு. ஸோ பெரிய பெரிய நன்றிகள் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன். தேங்க்ஸ் டு ஆல்.
என்னோடய பேர் முரளி. ஏஜ் 52. நான் செய்யாலேருந்து பேசுகிறேன். ஐ ஆம் ஏ சிகேடி பேஷண்ட் டூயிங் திஸ் டயாலிசிஸ் ஃபார் மோர் தென் 4 இயர்ஸ். பிகினிங்கில் நான் சென்னையில் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருந்தேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் நியர்பை அப்படின்னால ஐ கேம் டு திஸ் KH அப்போலோ. அதுக்கப்புறம் எனக்கு நண்பர்கள் மூலயமா வந்து ஐ கேம் டு நோ அபவுட் திஸ் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன். ஃபார் த பாஸ்ட் 1.5 இயர்ஸ் நான் டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் தான் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்கிறேன். முன்னாடிலாம் எங்களுக்கு டயாலிசிஸ்னால் ஃபிசிக்கலி, மென்டலி, ஈவன் ஃபைனான்ஷியலி வெரி பிக் பர்டன். பட் நான் இங்கே டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் வந்த அப்புறம் ரியலி ஐ ஆம் என்ஜாயிங் த டயாலிசிஸ். இப்போ எனக்கு வந்து இந்த சென்டரில் எங்கள் சென்டரில் இருக்கிற டெக்னீஷியன்ஸ் தான் தெரியும் எங்களுக்கு. வேறு ஃப்ரண்ட்லைன் பீப்புள்ஸ், அட்மின்ஸ்லாம் எங்களுக்கு தெரியாது. இல்லைனாலும் they organizing and they are running this Tanker Foundation is really wonderful. My sincere thanks to all the peoples of Tanker Foundation from the bottom of heart that this service is really wonderful because service to human is service to God சொல்லுவாங்க. அந்த வேலை this Tanker Foundation is really wonderful. I thank you very much. Thank you very much.
எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் பேர் வந்து லால் பகதூர். நான் வந்து ஒரு டயாலிசிஸ் பேஷண்ட். நான் 2017 டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். ஃபஸ்ட்டு 6 months வந்து ட்ரிப்ளமில் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். நெக்ஸ்ட்டு நியர்லி 3 years பார்த்திங்கன்னா நான் வந்து டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் தான் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். எனக்கு முதலமைச்சர் காப்பீடு திட்டம் மூலிமா தான் பண்ணுறேன். எனக்கு ஹெல்த் இஷ்யூஸ்ன்னு எதுவும் இல்லை, நல்லா தான் போயிட்டுருக்கு. ஈவன் நான் வந்து வாரத்தில் 2 நாள் பண்ணாலும் ஒர்க்குக்கும் போயிட்டுருக்கேன். நான் வந்து எஸ்கே டிசைன் அண்ட் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ஸ் ப்ரைவேட் லிமிட்டடில் ப்ராஜெக்ட் இன்ஜினியராக ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன். எனக்கு ஹெல்த்து ரிலேட்டடாக எந்த ஒரு விஷயம் வந்ததில்லை, நல்லா தான் போயிட்டுருக்கு. தேங்க்ஸ் டு டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன்ஸ். அப்புறம் இங்கே இருக்க அம்பத்தூரில் இருக்க ஸ்டாஃப்ஸ், சீனியர் ஸ்டாஃபாக இருக்கட்டும், ஜூனியர் எல்லாருமே பார்த்திங்கன்னா வெரி கைண்டாக, பொலைட்டாக சப்போர்ட் இருக்காங்க. அந்த சப்போர்ட்டும் பண்ணுறாங்க. வெல் ஆர்கனைஸ்டு. தேங்க்யூ.
வணக்கம். என் பேர் சுலைமான். நான் இங்கே டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷன் 1 வருஷமாக டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். டயாலிசிஸ் பண்ணுற மாதிரியே தெரியல, கிட்னி ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்க மாதிரியே தெரியல. நானும் மற்றவங்க மாதிரி நார்மலாக தான் இருக்கேன். ஒர்க் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கேன். வீட்டில் அம்மா தம்பி இருக்காங்க. தம்பியை நான் தான் படிக்க வைக்கிறேன். இங்கே டேங்கர் ஃபவுண்டேஷனில் நல்லா தான் பார்த்துருக்குறாங்க எல்லோரும்.
So those were a few videos from our patients. We just have to say that all these, wonderful, it's very humbling when you hear them say about the service of tanker. But all this would not be possible without all our wonderful staff. So I just want to acknowledge that and say that they are the angels on earth. And without them, we couldn't have done this through the pandemic. Can you stand up, all our staff, all the heads of our units, the heads of all our of all the units that we have, our admin staff, our awareness staff, everybody. Because each and every one of you, for me, is a living God. For us, you have done selfless service. Because through the pandemic, you took care of these patients. You could have all sat at home and said, no, I can't come out because of the pandemic. But you all stayed in the dialysis units and you all somehow got to work. So, adukku romba kadamapattirukom. I just want to say a big, big thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Today we had 26 machines and 3 centers and 145 patients coming from Arakkonam and Tiruthani and Vellore, and still we want to reach out to many more people, especially the underprivileged, where they have no source of getting dialysis. We started giving 600 rupees as subsidized dialysis to our patients, and later over a period of few years we reduced to 375.
Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the Krishnanang Tanker Foundation Endowment Lecture on Equity and the Future of Healthcare in India, I give you Dr. Vinayak Singh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the very outset, I'd like to thank the family members of Srimati Lakshmi Venkatraman for instituting this endowment oration lecture on this World Kidney Day. She was a volunteer of the Spastic Society and served for CanStop, rendering relentless service to those suffering from deadly disease of cancer. It is a very befitting and meaningful tribute to her by her family members. Having heard Dr. Ganapathy speak about her, she is a very worthy person to be remembered today. Let me thank Father Jose Batley for a chief guest. Finally, but not the least, let me thank the entire staff of trustees and Tanker who are very close to my heart and for their dedicated and committed service to reach out to the poor for the last 20 years. Thank you.
I think our trustee, Kia Malti, deserves a big round of applause. She's on dialysis, she's our biggest fundraiser, and she is a source of inspiration also to all of us. So thank you, Malti, for proposing the vote of thanks. We thank all of you, thank the press.
So I now call upon Mrs. Malati Venkatesan to please come and introduce our speaker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to introduce Dr. Deko Aydin Mohammed, who will be delivering this lecture this evening on behalf of her mother. We heard about her mother from a book, Keeping Hopes Alive. So we are very particular that they should come and share their experience with us. And unfortunately, she is not well, so her daughter has come. So we really welcome her. Please, we welcome you, Doctor.
While we are waiting for our chief guest, she's on the way. She just arrived and she should reach here hopefully within 15-20 minutes. In the meanwhile, we just thought we'll play some of these really, worthy videos. Malti was someone, who was like for me, like a mother also to Tanker, along with my own mother. And as you just saw in the video, she just, against all odds, she was there all the time for the patients, for Tanker, for all our programs. So Malti and Mr. Venkatesan passed after that recently, and they're a couple who are, hats off to them. And I know that they'll be here blessing us day in and day out and watching over us. They're our guardian angels. So we've got a lot of interns who come and intern with us. So we've just got one video done by an intern from American International School, which we're going to play. In the meanwhile, if you need to, refresh yourselves, please do so, because we need to be seated within the next 15 minutes. Okay, thank you. So we'll just play a few more videos about Tanker and about awareness. Thank you.
Chronic kidney disease. What is it? What do you need to be aware of? How is Tanker involved? And how can you support the organization?
So, what do your kidneys do? Your kidney's job is to filter your blood by controlling your body's fluid balance and remove waste. Your kidneys also make sure to keep the right levels of electrolytes to stay healthy.
What is chronic kidney disease? Chronic kidney disease means that your kidneys are damaged and they can't filter blood properly. The reason it's called chronic is because the damage caused to your kidney is irreversible. Chronic kidney disease mostly occurs due to diabetes and high blood pressure. Although there is no cure for it, you can get treatment to manage your blood sugar and high blood pressure levels to make sure that the damage doesn't get worse. What are the stats on this health condition? At least 1 in 7 individuals are affected with chronic kidney diseases worldwide. With that in mind, the main causes are high blood pressure, diabetes, inherited diseases, a side effect of other health conditions, and last but definitely not least, autoimmune diseases.
With chronic kidney disease, the following symptoms may occur: nausea and vomiting, fatigue, high blood pressure, loss of appetite, malaise or water electrolyte imbalance, kidney damage, abnormal heart rhythm, fluid in the lungs, insufficient urine production, and severe unintentional weight loss, as well as many others.
So how can we prevent kidney failures? Firstly, general management of your blood sugar and blood pressure, prevention of diabetes and high blood pressure. Secondly, maintain a balanced diet every meal along with a minimum of 3 liters of water each day.
Third, maintain adequate movement for your body through exercise and other activities. 4, avoid intake of unnecessary chemicals and/or products on a regular basis. 5, Have regular checkups with your doctor if you are unsure about your health. 6. Reduce your overall stress and maintain a healthy lifestyle in general.
Tanker Foundation. How does Tanker's involvement in India aid patients with kidney diseases? Tanker is now engaged in a broad range of activities aimed at information, dissemination, and prevention of the onset of kidney disease. Tanker provides free and subsidized dialysis to underprivileged kidney patients in 11 dialysis units spread throughout Tamil Nadu. 10 to 15 years. An individual has the chance of adding an additional 10 to 15 years to a healthy lifestyle post-treatment.
And finally, how can you contribute? Donate to the Tanker Foundation through the webpage to support kidney treatments for the underprivileged. Remember that every single rupee donated counts.
Chronic kidney disease has proven to be detrimental to the Indian population, especially with the abundance of diabetics with a risk of developing CKD. It's crucial that we learn to take better care of our health to prevent CKD. But what causes CKD and how does it develop?
The kidneys are two kidney bean-shaped organs located underneath the rib cage. A major function of the kidneys is to remove waste products from the body through urination, as seen from the functions of the glomerulus, which is essentially the filter, and the tubule, a drainage system of sorts. The kidneys also regulate the body's salt, potassium, and acid content, and produce hormones that aid other organs with their functions.
Develops when the kidneys are damaged and cannot filter blood as well as they should. Because of this, excess fluid and waste from blood remain in the body and may cause other health problems such as heart disease and stroke. If it lasts over 3 months, it's marked as chronic.
There are many risk factors that make one more susceptible to CKD. To name a few, diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, smoking, obesity, abnormal kidney structure, and older age are the most common causes and risk factors of CKD. In addition, Asians in particular are more susceptible to CKD because they are far more susceptible to diabetes. This is because they are insulin resistant, which leads to higher blood sugar levels.
Diabetes is the most common cause of chronic kidney disease, especially in India. In order to prevent chronic kidney disease, we can learn to prevent the causes. The challenge checklist can help with that. Number 1, drink a minimum of 3 liters of water a day. It improves kidney function. Eat healthy meals and cut back on salts and added sugars. Number 2, reduce consumptions of stimulants like alcohol. Alcohol in particular causes changes in the function of the kidneys and makes them less efficient in the filtration of blood.
Number 3, engaging in an exercise-related activity each day. When you exercise, you strengthen and provide nutrients to your blood. It improves your blood pressure as well. Number 4, participating in a de-stressing activity every day. As the kidneys filter the blood, the kidneys are more susceptible to problems surrounding blood circulation. As stress is detrimental in observing blood pressure, it is important to de-stress and relax every day.
With these challenges, we make it easier to take care of our kidneys and our health. In 2019, it was observed that 175,000 people had CKD severe enough for their kidneys to fail and needed dialysis for treatment. This challenge is also encouraged to be a lifelong practice.
Kidney Transplants by Nandini Bhatkal, a Tamil Nadu Kidney Research Foundation Awareness Initiative. A kidney transplant is a surgical procedure performed on a person whose kidneys are not functioning properly, in which a healthy kidney from a living or deceased donor is placed within a recipient. It's an option that some chronic kidney disease or CKD patients take to treat the disease. Another option is dialysis, in which a machine filters out the patient's blood. A transplant will help most patients live longer, increase their energy levels, and make work and travel easier. Before a kidney transplant is performed, there's a significant amount of preparation for it. After the patient has chosen a transplant center, the center will evaluate the patient to determine their eligibility for a transplant. The patient's support, financial stability, and mental health are assessed. as well as their general health status. This evaluation could include MRI scanning and X-rays. Diseases that could disrupt the transplant are identified, and medics will confirm that the patient is healthy enough for surgery and lifelong medication. To ensure that the donor kidney will not be rejected by the patient, blood tests are performed to find a suitable donor with a matching or compatible blood type. A transplant can still be performed with an incompatible blood type, and this is called an ABO incompatible kidney transplant. However, this transplant requires additional preparation and medical treatment before and after the operation. Subsequent to blood typing, the patient's tissues are examined in a process called human leukocyte antigen typing, or HLA typing. HLA proteins are genetic markers, which are used to identify cells in the body. Within this process, HLA proteins are compared that decrease the likelihood of the donor kidney being rejected. The final test, known as cross-match, examines if the antibodies in the receiver's blood react negatively to the antigens in the donor's blood. A patient can either receive their kidney from a living or deceased donor. In the case of a living donor, family members are some of the most compatible and therefore the most common donors. Paired donation is common when a donor's kidney is not compatible with their recipient's. The donor gives their kidney to another recipient, and that recipient's original donor gives their compatible kidney to the first recipient. Deceased donation happens when there are no available donors for the recipient, and they're placed on a waiting list for a kidney from a deceased donor, which can take a long time. Within the transplantation process, an incision will be made in the lower part of your abdomen, and after the area is cleansed with an antiseptic, the donor kidney will be implanted either to the left or to the right of the bladder. Then the blood vessels of the new kidney, which are the renal artery and vein, will be sewn together with the external iliac artery and vein, or the blood vessels in the lower part of the abdomen. The artery connection allows blood from the heart to travel through a major artery called the aorta, enter the common iliac arteries, branch off into the external iliac arteries, and reach the kidney through the renal artery. Similarly, the vein connection allows filtered blood to exit the kidney through the renal vein, travel through the external iliac vein and common iliac vein, and enter the heart through a major vein called the inferior vena cava. Next, a tube called the ureter in the donor kidney is then connected to the patient's bladder, allowing urine in the kidney to be drained out into the bladder. Once the ureter has been connected, the incision will be sewed up and an antiseptic pad or bandage will be applied to the area for further protection. However, there are some risks and complications associated with kidney transplants. For example, it's not recommended to undergo a transplant if one is very old or has a drug addiction. Other diseases that make transplantation dangerous include heart disease and recent or active cancer that has spread. It's imperative to ensure that a donor kidney is completely healthy, since diseases and infections can be transmitted with it. A patient's body could also reject a donor kidney, and it will not be able to function. However, there are medications that one can take to help their body adjust to the new kidney and prevent this rejection. Fear of kidney transplants and reluctance to undergo them is extremely common within patients due to uncertainty of the transplant process and outcome, mainly whether or not the kidney will be rejected. Support is exceedingly important within this process. Family members and friends can assist patients and help them cope with the transplant, as well as preparation and recovery for it. Joining a patient's support circle can be immensely beneficial, as patients should have a space to talk that will help them alleviate stress. Connecting with transplant recipients online can also help patients adjust to their situation, as they can receive advice and guidance about how to make the process better. Lastly, it's imperative that transplant recipients educate themselves about the disease and the transplant process thoroughly, as it will clear many doubts and ease anxieties and stress. That way, they can also set appropriate goals for themselves post-transplant and plan accordingly. After the transplant, it's absolutely essential that recipients stay healthy and safe. They will spend several days per week in the hospital, where doctors will monitor the donor kidney's activity and how the recipient's body responds to the anti-rejection medicine. When this hospital care ends, recipients are able to return home. However, they have to monitor themselves very carefully, as certain everyday activities can place pressure on the donor kidney, such as driving. The surgical area should also be kept safe, and recipients should check their blood pressure and weight daily to ensure that the kidney is functioning well. Nutrition will also have to be monitored. Maintaining a healthy weight and diet will help combat diseases such as diabetes and hypertension, both of which can lead to chronic kidney disease. For recipients, it's important that they have enough fiber and many daily servings of fruit and vegetables. They should also avoid foods that interfere with their medication and not consume high amounts of salt and fat. Along with nutrition, exercise is a crucial part of the recovery process. Along with increasing strength and energy, it'll also help patients avoid post-transplant complications, including hypertension. Daily walks and strength training are beneficial, as well as cycling and swimming. However, minimal pressure should be put on the donor kidney to avoid complications. Recipients should talk to their transplant team to choose a physical routine that keeps them safe and healthy. However, what is Tanker doing? Along with its fruitful work on dialysis and awareness of chronic kidney disease, Tanker also funds kidney transplants, research, and post-transplant medications and investigation. If you have any inquiries, contact Tanker through their email or visit their website for more information. Thank you so much for listening.
See my brothers come around and look at me that way, and I knew just what they were trying to say. No holding back their stories, their eyes tell me it's scary. I'm sorry, put my head down, then I quickly start praying. Oh no, 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 I was not to be consoled, and I wasn't so sure of where things would be headed. Searching for angels of mercy and purveyors of hope.
This is a song which was composed specially for Tanker by a well-wisher. One of Dr. Georgie's students and a few of them put this song together. We are waiting. The governor has already left her residence. She's on the way. She should be here within 10 minutes. So we ask you to be patient. She will be here soon. Thank you.
Ticking on for many of my dear brethren. The tides of change are yet to set in for all their suffering. Now hold out your hands, show them the path, and give them a chance. Oh, let's bring love back. Oh no, no, wasn't so sure of where things would be headed. Searching for angels of mercy and purveyors of hope, I find the promise of a new dawn just laying within. And now it's clear to me now, and I'm finally coming around to open my heart, open my arms, give it to one and all my brothers now. यज्ञदानतपः कर्मण त्याज्यं कायमेव तत् यज्ञोदानं तपश्चैव पावनानि मनीषिणाम् एतान्यपि तु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्. It's clear
The governor's on the way, should be here hopefully in about 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you all for your patience. This was an unexpected delay. And we request, when we ask anyone to speak, if you can come and speak on this podium, because that is for the governor exclusively. So just a few more minutes and we'll start the program. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Dhruv and I'm here to talk to you about the 3 golden rules of keeping your kidney healthy. The first rule is to stay active as far as possible. Play games like cricket, football, basketball, whatever it is that you enjoy, but mainly just to stay active. The second rule is to avoid junk food as far as possible. Now, I know it can be hard, trust me, because junk food is really tasty, but at the same time, it's not great for you. So replace it with healthy food like salads or something as far as possible. You can eat it now and then, but just to keep the amount that you eat in check. Now, lastly, the third and final rule is to drink as much water as you can. Whenever you can, just go to the kitchen, grab a glass of water, and keep doing that throughout the day, mainly just to stay hydrated because it's really good for you. Now, just follow these 3 rules and you should end up with healthy kidneys for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Did you know that life is actually long? Did you also know that we make it short. In India, 7 out of 10 people are ignorant about kidney diseases. Hypertension and diabetes are the main causes for kidney failure. A simple blood test and a urine test done regularly will keep us away from these dreadful diseases. Tanker, Tamil Nadu Kidney Research Foundation, has provided treatment at subsidized rate for the underprivileged and created awareness. With more support, more lives can be touched and saved. Together, let us support Tanker. Tanker, give life, live life.
A very good morning on World Kidney Day. Tamil Nadu Kidney Research Foundation would like to remind you to safeguard your kidneys. Your kidneys are precious. Do have regular health checkups to keep your diabetes and BP under control. Exercise regularly. Drink plenty of water. Avoid smoking and junk and overly salted food, and do have a healthy diet. Do not self-medicate, especially painkillers. Your kidneys are very precious. Let us be ambassadors spreading this message, bridging the knowledge gap in kidney care. Last but not the least, do support Tanker Foundation in our efforts to help the underprivileged kidney patients. Do spread this message on social media, and please do remember to tag Tanker Foundation. Thank you so much.
welcome our chief guest, Dr. Srimati Tamilisai Soundararajan, Honorable Governor of Telangana and Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry. Welcome, ma'am. We request Dr. Georgie Abraham on stage and also Mrs. Lata Pandyarajan on stage, founder trustee and our trustee. We start with the national anthem. Please stand for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा
be seated. This is our 29th Tanker Annual Charity and Awards Night. And we would like to dedicate this evening to Mrs. Meena Venkateshwaran, who passed last year. She was fondly known as the mother of Tanker and was with Tanker right from inception and helped in fundraising and in all the activities of Tanker. We also dedicate this evening to Mr. M.G. George Muthoot, who was also a big donor of Tanker. We start with an invocation song by Mrs. Sudha Lakshmi Rao, Advisory Member, Tanker Foundation. Please be seated.
I'm singing some couplets from the Tirukkural. மலர் மிசையேகினான் மானடி சேர்ந்தார் நிலமிசை நீடு வாழ்வார் பிறவி பெருங்கடல் நீந்துவார் நீந்தார் இறைவனடி சேராதார் துப்பார்க்கு துப்பாய துப்பாக்கி துப்பார்க்கு துப்பாய தூவும் மழை அன்பிற்கும் உண்டோ அடைக்கும் தாழ் ஆர்வலர் புன்கணீர் பூசல் தரும் இனிய உளவாக இன்னாத கூறல் கனியிருப்ப காய் கவர்ந்தாற்று முகத்தான் அமர்ந்து இனிது நோக்கி அகத்தானாம் இன்சொல்லினதேயாரம் முகத்தான் அமர்ந்து இனிது நோக்கி அகத்தானாம் இன்சொல்லினதேயாரம்.
Thank you, Sudha Lakshmi Rao. We'll have the lighting of the Kuttuvalakku. We request Dr. Srimati Tamilisai Soundararajan, Honorable Governor of Telangana and Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Georgie Abraham, and Mrs. Lata Pandyarajan. We also request Neena Reddy. She is the director of Sabera Hotels and she sponsors this program every year. We also request Mrs. Sally Abraham of Aban Group. They've been with Tanker right from beginning. Please come and light the Kuttuvalakku for us. They are lighting it on behalf of all of us, our patients and all our staff and everybody here. Thank you. Thank you. I now request Dr. Georgie Abraham, our founder trustee, to come this side, please, and give the welcome address.
Good evening to all distinguished guests. On behalf of Tanker Foundation, the trustees, the nurses, the technicians, the patients, our well-wishers, and the media, I extend a warm welcome to our Honorable Governor, Her Excellency, Dr. Tamilisai. And I have known Dr. Tamilisai for nearly 2.5 decades, and her husband, Professor Soundararajan, is my colleague who is also a nephrologist. I also want to extend a warm welcome to two guests. One is Dr. Mumtaz Patel, the Vice President of the Royal College of Physicians of London and faculty at Manchester, and Dr. Raghuram. He is a product of Chennai, but who is also a professor in UK. And I also welcome all the awardees for this function, and there are a number of awardees. So with that short speech, I will just wind up and thank you.
We will have the Tanker and the award update by Mrs. Lata Kumaraswamy, Managing Trustee, Tanker Foundation.
So, Honorable Chief Guest, We're really, really grateful that you could find time to be with us today. And welcome to everybody who's here today, each and every one of you. You're all special for us. Just to give you a quick update about Tanker, we started in 1993, June, in a very small way. This was founded by Dr. Georgie Abraham and like-minded people who all had had a brush with the disease, and he wanted to reach out to the poor and underprivileged, because at that time there wasn't much being done for kidney disease. So we started in a very small way with a few thousand rupees, and over the years we grew. I have to say that it was Dr. Georgie's inspiration and his mission and vision that inspired all of us to get involved in Tanker and help in the process of it growing. So over the years, we had, we just started with 2 dialysis machines from Dev Sugars, SR, ICICI helped us. And then as we moved on, we opened up our own dialysis units. Mr. K.V. George, who's Dr. Georgie's father-in-law, had given us free space for 20 years to run a dialysis unit. And Mr. B.C. Kumaraswamy, my father-in-law, had given us for 20 years free space to have an office. So with inspiration of family members, friends, and like-minded people, we grew. With people having faith in us and belief in us, I have to say I'm very humbled that people came forward to help us. And right now we stand at 12 dialysis centers. We have done over 4.6 lakh dialysis for patients. We've given away over 3.6 crores of rupees as one-time contributions. Our units are 8 in Chennai and 4 out of Chennai in Madurai, Coimbatore, Vellore, and in Tirupur. We've also got a unit in MGM Hospital in Pondicherry. Tanker was one of the first to reach out to HIV patients because Dr. Georgie felt that we need to reach out to people with HIV who are marginalized. So we were one of the first to be offering dialysis for HIV patients. We also support Kerala Kidney Research Foundation. And of course, wherever Dr. Georgie goes and he sees a need, then he inspires all of us to help. So we've also donated in Imphal in Manipur, where there are 6 dialysis machines donated by us. Also in Port Blair, and there also we have set up a small dialysis unit. Dr. Georgie also went to Tanzania and found that there was no dialysis machine in the General Hospital in Dar es Salaam, and he inspired us along with Madras Medical Mission, and we donated a machine there. He found a person who was pregnant and who didn't have access to dialysis. So over the years, there's a lot more to do. Right now, we treat around 700 patients. We do over 6,500 dialysis. 5,800 are free. This is mainly with help from the Chief Minister's scheme, from the central government schemes, from Greater Chennai Corporation, from all our donors and enablers like family, friends, corporates, Rotary, Freemasons, Roundtablers, Inner Wheel, Ladies Circle, and individual donors. Even our patients come forward to donate. Even our staff come forward to donate. We do awareness programs because that's a very, very important aspect of kidney disease because we have to bring it down. And Tanker has done and reached out to over 2 lakh people by giving awareness programs. And we've conducted screening camps. Here I have to acknowledge with gratitude Mrs. Rajalakshmi Ravi and her team. Please, we'd like to say thank you to you. I know you say every year I say thank you, but Raji, you and your team, along with Mrs. Subbalakshmi and others, have reached out and done so much for the cause of awareness also, and we're really grateful to you for that. We have to say thank you to our staff who are our angels on earth, because without the staff, we could not have done dialysis, especially during this pandemic. They stayed in the units and they looked after patients. So we're very grateful to them, each and every one of them. Thank you. Tanker is also part of the International Federation of Kidney Foundations, of which I'm the president-elect. It's an organization of international bodies and foundations from all over the world to create awareness of kidney disease. We also observe the World Kidney Day. We also have a CME committee which was started recently. We have a few of our members, Dr. Mumtaz Patel, who is also here, and a few others who are all part of the CME because we realize the need for education is very, very important. We also want to say that along with all our staff, our admin, awareness, office, every person plays a major role But most of all, a Savera Nina Reddy, who offers this place for us year in and year out, for the press for supporting us, trustees, advisory members, everybody. Without all of you and without each and every one of you, we could not be where we are today. There's a long way to go, and we hope you'll be with us through our journey. Thank you.
May I request Mrs. Lata Pandyarajan, Trustee, Tanker Foundation, to introduce our Honorable Chief Guest.
Very good evening. And we are really honored and privileged to have Her Excellency with us this evening, and also Dr. Soundarajan with us. And before I read this, I thought, like, having known her and seen her for many years, let me say a few things from my heart before I see this. So I think, like, she's a very versatile, dynamic person with a real fighting spirit. That's what I've seen her, because I have seen more of her political avatar because of my husband that way. And she'll never say die attitude, always that way. Very compassionate, very sensitive, understands really the nitty-gritties, the grassroots level, whatever the needs are that way. So that's what I really admire in her in that sense, and really privileged to have known her. So Doctor, very, very happy to have you with us, Wind Tanker, this evening that way. And yeah, so Doctor was born in Nagarkoil in Kanyakumari district. And as you all know, she took charge as the governor of Telangana on the 8th of September 2019, and happens to be the first woman to hold this office. She assumed the office of the Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry on 18 February 2021. She is the first Lieutenant Governor to take the oath of office in Tamil. I know the kind of passion she has for that language and the amount of poetry she loves in Tamil that way. And yeah, she has a remarkable public and social service background spanning over 20 years. She also has an illustrious political career in the last 2 decades, where she has successfully led the state unit of a political party with noteworthy accomplishments. Doctor started her career as a medical practitioner after completing her MBBS, PG in gynecology. She has undertaken special training on ultrasound and fetal therapy at Toronto in Canada. She worked as an assistant professor, Department of Gynecology at Sri Ramchandra Medical College for 7 years, and resigned in 2003 for full-time political engagements. She nurtures great devotion towards public service and enhancement of living standards of common people, with focus on health and education as a prime agenda. She has donned the hat of being a state head of a political party and steering it with exemplary management skills and people service milieu. And Doctor is a proud recipient of many, many awards, most important being the international award titled International Rising Star of the Year 2018 by Multi-Ethnic Advisory Task Force of USA. Doctor is known for a strong advocacy towards uplifting living standards of people through better health and preventive care. She's a great admirer of social and cultural strengths of our country, and very considerate towards inclusion of values and humility right at basic education system and upwards. Doctor happens to be a very focused towards development of society and well-being of citizens. I'm sure all of you would have seen her some years back in the media. She's always known for her oratorial skills. And Doctor, we are very, very honored and privileged once again to have you with us this evening.
I now request our trustees to honor Honorable Governor of Telangana and Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Srimati Tamilisai Soundararajan. Thank you. I now request our Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Governor of Telangana and Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Srimati Tamilisai Soundararajan, to address us.
A special good evening to each and everyone here. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். Dr. George Abraham, founder trustee of Tanker Foundation, and I am very thankful to him because of him only myself and my husband went to Canada, and his mentor was Dr. Oriopoulos, and sir also had a training under him, particularly ambulatory peritoneal dialysis system. And when I went along with him, I also had an opportunity to have some training at Canada. So I mention here with thankfully for that. And Mrs. Lata Pandiyarajan, trustee Tanker Foundation. And as she said, she's a very good friend of mine. Not only herself, her husband, Sri Pandiyarajan, both are like during our political days, I have moved like a sister and brother with them. And Mr. Gupta, chairman, Bala Group. Mrs. Lata Kumarasamy, managing trustee of Tanker Foundation. I have to mention about her. Individual can achieve greater things. Lata Kumarasamy has proved that because her total commitment to the renal patients, because she happened to have a renal patient in her family, and the pain she experienced, and she don't want others to experience the same pain. In fact, gain their hope, trust. She is working very focused for the Tanker Foundation and other eminent personalities and the award-winning doctors, employees of Tanker Foundation, and other distinguished guests present here, beloved media friends, my security personnel, and all the other friends who are all present here. I am standing here because I got my flight by 5 o'clock at Hyderabad. Today I had a very grand program of WINGS, that is the International Exhibition of Flights, where our Honorable Jyotilada Scindia, the Honorable Minister for Civil Aviation, attended. We both were the chief guests there, and till 3 o'clock I was there. I took my lunch at the airport. My ADC will know that. Then I flew here, and then with slight refreshment I have come here, and I have to leave by 9:10 flight, so I have to leave here by 8:10. Exclusively for Tanker Foundation program I came. When I received a letter from the Honorable Civil Aviation Minister, it's a very prestigious program to be inaugurated at Telangana, and this is an international conference. So 25th he mentioned in that. Seeing the date, really I was jittery, and immediately I called him about the time inauguration. Then when he told it is 10:30 and you have to be there till 3 p.m. Aha, I breathed out. Okay, night at least. Immediately I can come and leave the place. So till 3 o'clock I was in the program, and exclusively for this Tanker Foundation, because I respect Dr. George Abraham, the Tanker Foundation, because none other person can understand about the renal patients than a nephrologist's wife. That is, as I am the nephrologist's wife, I understand about the renal patients and the amount of commitment and the amount of time they spend with the renal patients. It is very difficult to be a wife of a nephrologist. but because I was also roaming here, I didn't felt the pinch. But anyhow, it's very difficult because mid-time, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, there is no any time for the call. We are all very happy. So I pray God, everyone should pass urine freely in this country. When everyone is passing urine freely, we are safe, and we will have our husband nearby. Otherwise, if there is any problem with the kidneys of others, then really to save the pair of kidneys, this pair is suffering. So I have to say that. So it's very difficult. And as Lata Kumarasamy here thanked the technicians, I tell my experience, I have worked as a technician to Dr. Soundararajan. So when he was posted as a nephrologist to organize the department at Tanjavur Medical College, a peripheral medical college. So when midnight calls will be there, some VIPs will be coming there, snake bite patients will be admitted. So when they were admitted, there won't be any technical hands to help him. So I was a third year medical student, so I used to accompany him, and I have helped him in helped him in our dialysis as a technician, and even catheters. And after that, after I got trained in the ultrasound, I have guided him for renal biopsy and even catheterization. So I am a quarter nephrologist, I can say, otherwise half nephrologist. Better half of a nephrologist or half nephrologist, so I can say. So it is really, I wanted to attend this program. So in spite of my busy schedule, because today I am returning by 9:10 flight, which is landing there by 10:30 there. I will go to Raj Bhavan by 11 o'clock. And tomorrow early morning 6 o'clock, we are starting for a tribal tour. And I will return by 11 o'clock only. So why I am telling this, how Tanker Foundation program is very nearer to my heart, very important. So I took such a risk to fly and come here. And I should say that as I am experiencing the pain of the renal patients through my husband, and he tells lot of stories about them. And whenever there were opportunities, whether meeting our Honorable Madam Sushma Sivaraj to facilitate the production of COPD fluid in India, because it was imported and it was much costlier, and whether the Prime Minister's dialysis program, and every headquarters has the dialysis program. And when myself and my husband had a lighter talk with our Harshavardhan, Dr. Harshan, who was the health minister, and then when he was telling about the pain undergoing under the renal patients, how they are toiled to get the nominal charge dialysis, and how they have to travel a long distance to get the dialysis done. So when we were interacting with him about the pain of the dialysis patients, so then that was the seed sowed for the Prime Minister's dialysis program. So when it was implemented and in the budget, when the fund was allotted for that, he called us and told, when we were talking, when he came for a high tea to our house, and when we were just talking, he was talking about the pain of the dialysis and the cost of the dialysis, and the chronic dialysis patients, how they are selling their lands, jewels to get the dialysis done. So because I know the pain of those patients, I really thank Tanker Foundation, because there are 2.5 lakh patients per year affected by the kidney disease. And I should appreciate Lata Kumarasamy and Dr. Georgie Abraham. Not only they are concentrating on the dialysis, now they have moved apart from Tamil Nadu, whether it is Kottayam, Kerala, Karnataka, even abroad, certain countries, they have helped them. So they have widened their horizon to help the people of the renal disease. And now they are concentrating on creating awareness also. Because I always feel the cost of the renal patients, the cost of the dialysis and transplantation and maintenance of the transplant patients, the amount of money and the drugs and the care they should spend, I always feel prevention. As a doctor, we know that prevention is better, but particularly for renal patients. From the level of microalbuminuria, we have to pick up the patients. And the people are not aware. If they are diabetic, if they are hypertensive, their kidneys should be safe. The kidneys are affected more. They are not aware of that. They are not aware. My husband always used to say the kidneys are like mothers, very silently working. Like as I said, nobody will bother till they pass urine. If the urine is not passed for a few hours only, they will find the beauty of the kidney, the function of the kidney, and then only they will think about the kidney. So when all these happen, so we have to follow, we have to concentrate on the awareness programs, particularly the associated conditions which will create kidney diseases. So they are concentrating on that because that is the need of the hour in the present situation. And I'm really very happy to be here, and I appreciate the work done by Dr. Georgie Abraham and Dr. Lata Kumarasamy and others, both Lakshmis, where one is Gajalakshmi and other is Rajalakshmi. So, Rajalakshmi? Subbalakshmi. So, when good-hearted women and friends who are all helping us like that, so we are really very fortunate to have kind-hearted people like George Abraham. And I also feel, because he is also a nephrologist, he could feel the pain of the renal patients. And I am really happy to attend this, and I really congratulate the doctors and the professionals who are going to get the awards. Dr. Medi Naveen Kumar, Dr. Shobana Vardhaman, Dr. Professor John Bergman, Dr. Lucy, Sister Lucy Kurian, and Mr. Martin, Head of Coimbatore Dialysis Unit, Law Renan, Tanger Foundation Lifetime Achievement for Dr. Soundararajan. Law Renan Tanger Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award for Dr. Anand Kumar. So I am really very happy to be here, and I am satisfied by coming here. And as I said, I have to fly again to Hyderabad. So for you, for this commitment, I came, and this is the smallest contribution I could do for your great service. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். நான் என்னோட ஒரே ஒரு கோரிக்கை என்னன்னா, எல்லோரும் கிட்னிஸை, சிறுநீரகங்களை பாதுகாத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். சர்க்கரை வியாதி இருந்தாலும் சரி, உயர் ரத்த அழுத்தம் இருந்தாலும் சரி, முதலில் நீங்கள் சிறுநீரகங்களை அடிக்கடி பரிசோதித்துக் கொள்ள வேண்டும். சிறுநீரகங்கள் குறைவாக யூரின் போகணும்னு இல்லை, சிறுநீரகம் போகணும்ல என்ற அடிக்கடி நோயாளிகள் கேட்கும்போது, உங்களுக்கு சிறுநீரகம் பாதிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது என்று சொன்னால், இல்லை எனக்கு நிறைய யூரின் போகுதுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, நான் நிறைய சிறுநீரை கழிக்கிறேன் என்று சொல்வார்கள். அதுவும் தவறு தான். குறைவாக போனாலும் தவறு தான், நிறையா போனாலும் தவறு தான். அதனால் எல்லோரும் விழிப்புணர்வோடு சிறுநீரகங்களை பாதுகாத்து கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று எனது கோரிக்கையை வைத்து, சிறுநீரகங்களின் நோய்களை ஆரம்ப காலத்திலே கண்டுபிடித்தால் பல ஆண்டுகள் நாம் ஆரோக்கியமாக உயிர் வாழலாம் என்ற விழிப்புணர்வையும் ஏற்படுத்தி உங்களிடம் விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you, Honorable Governor of Telangana and Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Srimati Tamilisai Soundararajan. Thank you so much. So we move on to the awards, because we need to, this is something which we started to recognize people who are doing selfless service and research work. And the first award that we are giving today is the KV George Kottukulam Memorial Tanker and Kerala Kidney Research Foundation Young Investigator Award. So before that, I would just request Rohan, if you can just say why you want to give this award. This is KV George family.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Ladanti. We live in uncertain times right now, and research and higher knowledge is of essence at this particular point. My grandfather instituted this award specifically for the purpose of developing knowledge and innovation. And I'm very grateful that Dr. George Abraham, or as we all know him, George Chacha, was able to guide us in being able to find the people who have made the biggest contributions to research at this particular point. So I thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Rohan. So I request Dr. Medi Naveen Kumar to come on stage and receive the award.
Dr. Medi Naveen Kumar, in presenting this citation, we applaud your spirit of enthusiasm and commitment. Thank you for being with Tanker tonight.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. I think, thank you. Can we go on to the next award, please? After this, we will play after Madam leaves, we will play their speeches of acceptance, okay? Because I know you're in a rush. So the next award is the Rennie Abraham Tanker Foundation Love for Service Award. This is something which our trustee, who died young, Rennie Abraham, he was a person who gave, who always wanted to help people, and he never said no whenever anybody asked for help. So this award, our jury has decided to give it to Dr. Shobha Vardhaman. Can I request Dr. Shobha Vardhaman to come on stage?
Dr. Shobha Vardhaman, in presenting the citation, we applaud your spirit of love and devotion. Thank you for being with Tanker tonight. In presenting the citation, we applaud your spirit of love and devotion in selflessly serving in humanitarian missions with Doctors Without Borders in conflict locations and natural disasters in Nigeria, Yemen, Iraq, Iran, Orissa, and so many affected areas. You are a guiding light for us with your love and compassion towards all humanity. Thank you so much.
The next award is the La Renan Tanker Foundation for the Sake of Honor Award. Now this award is going to Professor Joanne Bargman, and we will send it to her in Canada. She's the one who delivered the lecture earlier. Well, we can show it if you want, but it doesn't. She's not here, so it's okay. So the next award is the K. Venkatnarayana Tanker Foundation Awareness Award. This is an award that we are giving a very special person. It's a special award which has been sponsored by the Balaha Group. Mr. Gupta is not here with us, and he wants to tell people that he'll always be with Tanker, and he's gone away on his 80th birthday on a pilgrimage. So this goes to Sister Lucy Kurian. We would request you to come.
Sister Lucy Kurian, in presenting the citation, we applaud your spirit of dedication and compassion in working tirelessly to spread awareness of the horrific violence and abuse against women through Mahar Mother's Home, which provides a safe haven for battered and destitute women. Thank you for being with Tanker today.
The next is the Ashok Shankaralingam Endowment Check. This has been given in memory of Ashok, who was a big donor of Tanker, a person who was always generous through the Pioneer Asia Group, who gave selflessly, and he passed, and his family is here. I would like Aruna and Sharanya to say a word.
Good evening. This award has been instituted in the memory of my father, Ashok Shankaralingam. He was a large-hearted person who touched countless lives with his inclusive friendships and sparkle. We are happy to have his memory alive through Tanker. It is gratifying to associate ourselves with Tanker to touch the lives of people and help them lead wholesome lives.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin, for receiving this. This will go to 4 patients. Now for the La Renan Tanker Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award. There are 2 very special people here who have come, and they are the people who have inspired thousands of people, doctors, nurses, technicians, and we call them the fathers of nephrology. And we would like to honor Dr. Soundararajan and Dr. Anant Kumar today.
Professor Dr. P. Soundararajan, in presenting the citation, we applaud your spirit of dedication and commitment in giving yourself over to the cause of kidney disease. You have several firsts in setting up hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis services, live donor and cadaver transplant programs, and home dialysis programs all over South India. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for inspiring so many people through your work. I think after the awards, if there's time, we'll ask them to give their acceptance speeches. So now we move on to the Enabler Award.
Professor Anand Kumar, in presenting this citation, we applaud your spirit of dedication and commitment in giving yourself over to the cause of kidney disease. Thank you so much for being with us.
We now move on to a very special award. This is our, we want to recognize our enablers who've been with us and selflessly served patients and taken care of them. So we'd like to honor Dr. Anisha Ashok and Dr. Jayant. Please come on stage. They are friends of Tanker. They are the children of friends of Tanker.
Dr. Anisha Ashok and Dr. Jayant Vijay Kumar.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Anand. We really appreciate this. Dr. Georgie and Lata will receive it on our behalf. We're very, very humbled by your wonderful gesture. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. So this is to a very young couple who've been helping us with free fistula surgeries. So Anisha and Jayant, they are students of Dr. Georgie.
Dr. Anisha Ashok and Dr. Jayant Vijay Kumar, we and our patients are truly blessed to have you with us. Our grateful thanks for your dedication and commitment towards patient care. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
We are so grateful to you. Thank you so much. And now on to the staff who are our angels on earth. We have to recognize, we want to recognize them. We are very, very blessed to have staff like who we have. I cannot tell you that they are so dedicated. So the first award is the Tanker Service Award 2021. And this goes to R. Sabita, who's a senior executive admin in HR, who's been working with us for over 10 years. Selfless service and dedication. Sabita, we're really grateful to you. Play her speech. Okay. Thank you, Sabita. Now for the Stars of the Year award. These are all awarded to our dialysis unit managers who have also done selfless service for us. So this goes to G. Samuel, G. Giridharan, R. Janukumar, and N. Tyagarajan. It has been awarded for performance, years of association, leadership, discipline, dedication. So please come up. They are the Nadamadum Devangal for us. So give them a big round of applause, all these people. Without them, we couldn't have done anything. The Tanker Individual... Tanker Individual Punctuality Awards. We appreciate people for being on time because you need to do dialysis correctly on time. So Mr. Vijayanand Kumar, Mr. Arasu, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Dinesh Kumar, Ms. Gausalya, and Mr. Divagar. And the Tanker Unit Punctuality Award is a rolling cup that goes to Tirupur and Valsaravakam units for having been so So Abdul Sukur and Janu will receive the awards. I request all the tanker staff who received awards to come on stage for a photograph, after which we'll have the awardees. So tanker staff, can you go on stage quickly for a photograph with ma'am? Kindly go quickly because ma'am has to leave. Our Honorable Governor has to leave. These are our angels on earth, along with all the other angels here. Each and every one of you is an angel. So a big round of applause for all our unit heads. Thank you, Honorable Governor, for being here and recognizing our staff. Thank you. I now request all our awardees to come on stage. Please, if you could, we'd be grateful for a photograph. All our awardees, please. We thank all our sponsors for giving these awards. We're very grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you for being with Tanker and for coming today. We thank our Honorable Governor of Telangana and Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan, for giving these awards.
Go fast. A big round of applause. Thank you.
As our governor, Honorable Governor, has to leave soon, we'll just say thank you to everybody for being here, for all our sponsors, for each and every person who has been part of Tanker's growth, for the press, for Savera staff, and for everybody. If I've missed out on anybody, I apologize, but we are just grateful to each and every one of you. I think, Honorable Governor, we will end with the national anthem. Please stand for the national anthem, after which we'd like you to stay back, please.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you, Dr. Srimati Tamilisai Soundararajan, Honorable Governor of Telangana and Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry. We request you all to be seated, please. I would like Dr. Shobha Vardhaman to come and say a few words, and all the doctors who are the awardees to come and say a few words. Doctor, can you please come and say a few words to us? Please be seated. We'd like you to be seated. Doctor, please say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. I thank the Tanker Foundation for doing such a yeoman service to people who are suffering mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. Thank you, the founding fathers and the staff and the present team. I just want to read out a poem from Bharatiyar, the only one he wrote in English. When there is a will, there is a way. But oh heavens, where is the way to get a will? Instinct replies, in thyself. Yes, in myself, in myself, in myself. I will that I develop a powerful will. I have willed it. I have willed that I will achieve. I have willed to do anything. I will. This is my mantra. I will work for power and greatness. I will achieve glory. I will. Okay, it's okay.
Doctor. We would like you to repeat what you started and the poem that you were telling us. So can you all kindly sit down, please, so that we can hear what Dr. Shobha has to say to us. Thank you.
I first would like to thank Tanker Foundation for doing such a yeoman service. I have a few patients at home, and I've been prima facie a witness to what they go through, physically, mentally, financially, and emotionally, most of all. And I think Tanker Foundation is doing an excellent job, and I feel it's a privilege that you should select me to come here and accept your appreciation of me. But instead of saying anything, I just want to read out Bharatiyar's only English poem. It is about willing, and if anybody gets inspired by the awards, like many have been inspired before me, I think somebody's life mission is done, and I draw my inspiration from Bharatiyar. when there is a will, there is a way. But oh heavens, where is the way to get a will? Instinct replies, in thyself. Yes, in myself. In myself? In myself. I will that I develop a powerful will. I have willed it. I have willed that what I will achieve. I have willed to do anything. I will. This is my mantra. I will work for power and greatness. I will achieve glory. I will annihilate the miseries of mankind. I will make mankind happier. I will make the world better. I will wed truth and power. Oh heavens, grant unto me that truth and power. I think Tanker Foundation and all of you who are working together have wedded truth and power truthfully, and may this will grant you more power. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Honestly, we are inspired by you, and we are inspired that you have you've inspired your family too. Thank you. So I now request Dr. Anand Kumar to say a few words. He's got the Lifetime Achievement Award, so just a few words to us about your work, Doctor.
I would like to thank Tanker Foundation for honoring me for this Lifetime Achievement Award. Kidney transplantation and managing renal failure patient is our passion, and I am happy that this has been recognized by the people, and I'm happy for this award. And I'm very today I learned a lot of things about Tanker Foundation. Though Georgie is our old friend, we know from each other from 1989. And I think the CAPD, the peritoneal dialysis program in India, was founded when myself, Georgie, and Amit Gupta sitting at his home, and we started it in the country. We were the first one to start it, and Georgie is a wonderful person. And seeing what a wonderful work he is doing for the poor people, so that's why I felt and I donated whatever the money was given to me for the people so that people can get help from and getting their dialysis done. Thank you, Georgie, for doing a wonderful job, and may God bless you and give long life so that you can keep on helping the people, and more people will get benefited from your vision and by Tanker Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. I request Sister Lucy Kurian to say a few words to us. We did tape her earlier, but she has created awareness of women's problems and so much more. So we're really blessed that she was able to join us today. Thank you, Sister.
Thank you so much, Madam. I really want to say a very big thank you for finding me worthy to receive this award. I'm so humbled. And I want to say a big thank you for what you all do for the people of India. When I was sitting there and I was watching all the videos and the things that you all were doing, I really, really want to appreciate and thank the Tanker Foundation for this great work that you all are doing. And to say a little word about Maher. Our organization is called Maher, and it is founded in Pune, but we are now working in 6 states. And a lot of work is going on for the homeless people. So we see anybody on the street, we rescue them and we bring them to our home. And if we can find their home back, we reach them back. If not, they are with us lifelong. So nearly now 2,000 people are staying, children, women, and also the homeless men. So they all are staying in our 63 homes in 6 states of India. And I'm happy to say that Nicola, who is the secretary of our institution, she's also here. Harish, one of our senior staff, who is also come from Pune, is with me. And Elena, she's a volunteer from Germany. She's also with us. So thank you for being with me today. And thank you once again. I'm so humbled. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are so grateful that you could come here all the way from Pune. You're an inspiration to us, sister. I now request our awardee who won the KV George Memorial Award to come and say a few words. He's a young investigator, and we are all to be inspired by what he's doing, because he's very young and he's going to, do great things.
Respected Dr. Georgie sir, Tanker Foundation, and all teachers, dear friends, good evening everyone. I am very much happy on this occasion as I was selected for the award of Best Young Investigator Award as part of from Tanker Foundation. I really thank you very much, and I have learned many things which Tanker Foundation is doing. The inspirational messages from the patients, the work they are doing, and the young people who are making these things happen. I congratulate all those technicians and patient caregivers, and I think I got much inspiration from this, and I try to keep this. And thank you everyone. Thank you for the Tanker Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Your research is going to help thousands of people in India. Thank you so much. I request Jayant, Dr. Jayant. In fact, we didn't give him any cash award because we take only from him and we ask him to do free service for us. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this evening. I'm truly humbled to be here to take this award. I pay a lot of this to my professor and teacher, Dr. Georgie Abraham. We've been learning from him for the last 20 years. We will still continue to learn from him. I do congratulate the entire Tanker Foundation team who've been saving lives each and every single day, especially during the pandemic time. It has been a lot of effort put in through those days. Thank you so much for this evening.
Thank you, Jayant and Anisha. Honestly, you're so young and you're just doing selfless service. We're so grateful to you, our patients. I think no words fail me. So now we have just one last video which we want you to see.
Good evening, one and all present here. I am Sabita, working as Senior Admin Executive in Tanker. I completed my 10 years of service with Tanker. It was a wonderful experience working with Lata and Dr. Georgie, all the trustees, employees and patients. I am very grateful for giving this wonderful opportunity. My hearty congratulations to all the awardees and the employees. On behalf of all the award-winning employees of Tanker, I express my grateful thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabita. Thank you, Tanker team. Without the team effort, we couldn't do anything, and each one of you plays a very important role. So office, admin office, awareness office, all the units, all unit managers, our heads, and our deputy general manager, everybody, thank you all very much. I think we've come to the end of the evening. If I've left out anybody, I don't think. Yeah, there is a mystery parcel, so we're just going to give that prize away. This is one game that was sponsored by my mother right from the first Tanker night. So we're just going to give the mystery parcel away. Sudha has sponsored it this time, after which we can all have a lovely dinner. Savera always comes out with a lovely meal for all of us. Who is the winner?
Lata, you beat me to it. I was just going to say this was the game that Amma had introduced. Lata and I are sisters, in case you don't know. So we just carried on this tradition, regardless of, whatever we're able to get, we put into that little box and then ask people to guess what it is. So Mr. Samuel from the Ambattur unit has won this, I'm sorry, it says Ambattur. It says Samuel from the Ambattur unit. And he got all 6. So, okay, I'm not... It is a bed sheet and 2 pillow covers. And congratulations. Please, Lata. Huh? Oh my God, I believe last year he won the award too. So I think he's a good guesser, or you have X-ray vision. Yeah.
So when we started Tanker Night, it used to be a dinner evening, and we'd sell 500 rupee tickets, and then we'd have games and prizes and dancing and everything. And over a period of time, it graduated because Dr. Georgie inspired us to do other things as well and say, come on, it's not just only about having fun, but it's also about acknowledging people who do great work for us. So here I want to just say thank you, Rohini, for all the HR work that you do. Of course, Raji, thank you so much. Thank you, Usha. She does counseling. Thanks Showspace. Thank you, Showspace, for organizing and running this program for us. Thank you, Rukmani. She's a volunteer. I think we have a lot of people. Each one, it's difficult for me to call out each one by name, but we are grateful to every one of you for this, for all the help and the selfless service that all of you do, and for being part of our Tanker family. Yeah, there's a check from Bala. When we started Tanker, he was a guy who sat with me and wrote proposals for money. Where's Bala? Anyway, he's run off, I think. So he has given us 50,000 rupees today. And of course, we got our check back from Dr. Anand. And I'm sure that there are other people who are coming forward to support us. Thank you. Please have dinner and go. And we can ask Sudha to entertain us if you want. Okay, illa paadavatala. Those days we used to have some music and all. So if anybody wants to sing, come on boys, you can sing. But we can go and eat now, okay? Oh, I have to say thank you to Krishna for coming all the way from Kanchipuram. Any silk sarees you want, we can buy from him. He'll give it at a big discount. Thank you. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Lata. Yeah, dinner's there at the back.